And let's get the player introductions done. Spawning to the top right-hand position, we've got the green Zerg player representing Team Dignitas. Currently has 1 win this series, but the map advantage, so tied 2-2. It's dTefel. And his opponent down to the south, the blue Protoss representing Fnatic, winning game 1 and game number 3, looking strong so far in this grand final. We have Harstem.
All right, so first question to you, Maddles.
Okay.
Will we see Nexus into Gateway?
I would say it's quite likely, just because of what Harstem's been doing. Interesting thing about merry-go-round as well is there's some debris on the low ground, which means the walling off is easier than it should be with such a large ramp, but it's a vulnerability. So you can actually go for a complete wall off here to be entirely safe on 2 bases, and then just knock these out if you want to go out later on for a push. So something that Harstem may try to utilize.
Very, very true indeed. Not something we've actually seen done so far this tournament, but I'm looking forward to seeing how people figure out the nuances of the new maps and seeing just what kind of stuff we can see come into effect like that. Once again, Pool first out of dTefel. Once again, Nexus first out of Harstem. So looks like we're going to be seeing the same basic openings that we've seen the whole series long out of both of these guys. Probably going to be seeing a hatchery from this drone and then a gas coming down around 3:15 here for dTefel. We can kind of cast the first 4 minutes of this with our eyes closed.
Or we can assume we can. It's always a dangerous thing to do. Of course, I made a pretty bad mistake earlier on this tournament where I was saying all about why a forge on the low ground would be great when, of course, a certain Protoss player decided to go for a gateway on the low ground.
Oh, Randy.
Oh, Randy. But it is quite predictable what these two are going to be doing early game. Neither wanting to go for any cheeses. Right on cue, dTefel chucks down that gas. But Harstem gets the first scout down, which is always important. And unlike on other maps, you don't know where your opponents spawn based on how quickly they scout you either. Because
That's true.
The rush distances are all the same.
So this is going to be kind of interesting just to see how dTefel plays this out, because he has played Mutas with a Hidden Spire. This is a map where you can hide a Spire because there's just a lot of space. It's just not probably going to be utilized for most games, just because it kind of devolves into like a 2-player map with some hidden bases. That's just kind of what happens on this map. But I'm just kind of looking to see what dTefel's going to do, because Harstem has been playing a very reactive style all series long. He's been the one who's been waiting for dTefel to come to him. He's been the one who's just been saying, you know what, I know you're going to be attacking me, I'm just going to defend. And it's worked well for him so far this series.
To be fair, you don't have any choice other than to wait for dTefel to come to you, because generally speaking, dTefel will be the aggressor in a game. It's how he likes to play. He likes to be in your face, dealing damage, and making you be defensive. So I quite like how Harstem's reacting to this. Going to be interested to see if he does go for the quick third, though, because it's a very wide open third base on merry-go-round.
It's really tough to take a third on merry-go-round compared to the maps like Altrazim and Frost and what was the other one we saw? Overgrowth, yes. Names of new maps, confusing. But yeah, I mean, if you look at this map, the third base is just so far away from the natural ramp. It's so difficult to defend this. I doubt we're going to be seeing anything crazy like that 6-minute third we saw on Altrazim.
No, we're going to be seeing a Twilight Council.
We are going to be seeing a Twilight Council.
New opening, something we haven't seen before by Harstem. What's it going to achieve?
This is going to be kind of cool. We could see DTs. Harstem is a very DT-loving guy. He does love his DTs, mostly in PvP, but we have seen him chuck them out in PvZ in the past. Could also be Blink. And moment of truth, guys, as it's going to be completing.
There's no probe there. Generally, you'll see a probe if they want to go for a super fast DT shrine, but there's not enough gas actually for anything. So a slight bump in the build order there by Harstem, but nothing terrible. dTefel, he's adding in those 12 links.
He is. The 12 links there, just to get him some map control, shut down any proxy pylons that could be coming on down. His third base on the way as well, just on cue at around the 6-minute mark. And the Forge is finishing up here, and a Dark Shrine. I like DTs. DTs are fun to watch.
Only if you can see them.
That's true, but we can.
We can. We have that advantage.
We're very privileged in that regard.
It's insanely not fun to not watch DTs kill your base.
Yeah, that makes me cry sometimes. I have nightmares.
So, this is going to be quite hard to scout. There is an Overlord in position. It's seen. Oh, actually, no, this Overlord should just go in.
Actually, he may know what's coming because he can see that's not researching anything.
Yeah, he should now know. I was going to say, quite unlikely for an Overlord to get over there, but TeFel actually putting one there right near the start. And that was because he scouted the wrong way first. So in a strange way, that worked out nicely for him. The Ling's attempting to poke into the main, but of course that wall off very secure.
All right, so it looks like we will see the third base now. Still going for a relatively early third, despite the map not being super advantageous for it. Very, very ballsy from Harstem. +1 also on the way here for both of our players. We've got Carapace on the way and Attacks on the way, respectively. Ling's trying to get a little bit of a bite off on those sentries, but those sentries don't want to be anyone's food.
Still no sign of any Overseers, though, or any Spore Crawlers. So this Dark Shrine, which is now finished, could lead to some damage being done. 3 DTs being warped in. That is a big investment in Dark Templar from Harstem.
It really is. Now here comes the moment of truth of whether or not TeFel has noticed what's coming his way. We don't see any spores. Do we have any Overseers?
There's no Overseers.
On the map? He appears to not know this is coming. He's preparing Ling Hydra, which does very well against Blink Stalkers, but no Overseers, doesn't do very well against cloaked units. Does he see the Shimmer? Does he see the Oh, he doesn't see the Shimmer. Mattles, he
not looking there. These DTs, one's going to go to each base. So much damage is going to be done now.
This is going to be unfortunate. In comes the DT to the third. In comes the DT to the natural. One into the main. Overseers aren't going to help that much at this point. He's going to need to make 3 of them to make this work. Only making 1 at the moment. Pulling his entire army back as well. This is going to be very painful.
Overseer now frantically trying to get morphed in the middle, but these DTs are having just so much fun. That swipe from the Shimmer makes you cry.
It does if you're the Zerg player here. Now, taking a look at the DTs, they actually haven't killed that many workers compared to what could have happened. We've got 11 kills so far on these DTs, and it looks like they'll probably stay there. Cute little move from Harstem, moving this DT out to the bottom of the base instead of just trying to keep doing a little bit of damage, just hoping to avoid the sight of that Overseer.
He's managed to kill off 2, actually. I only managed to kill off 1 DT so far. 2 have so far escaped, but I think it will get scouted. TeFel looking around everywhere, the Shimmer just slowly moving.
This is actually really nice DT control, to be honest. We have another couple of workers going down while the DT moves into the third. TeFel is starting to take a lot of damage from this. The one on the main does die. 15 workers killed so far, which means a 2-worker lead at the moment here for Harstem. But that's also because a lot of drones have been being made instead of army units, so he's going to be safe for quite a while, and he's going to survive with this DT again. Pesky little guy.
This is a beautiful opening from Harstem. It's been so effective for him, and it's put him in a really nice spot moving forward as this game goes on. But by no means is this an overwhelming position that TeFel can't recover from. The drone count, as you said, is still relatively equal to the probe count. The army supplies are pretty similar, and actually, TeFel isn't getting massively far behind in tech. The big advantage that's actually coming through for Harstem is just the fact that he's been able to play his game so far.
DT coming back on into the third base once again. Even more workers gonna go down. This may be the time he dies. The Overseer getting close. Is he gonna catch it? Yes, he does.
Poor DT.
Total workers killed, 19. Not a bad opening at all.
Infestation Pit now coming down for TeFel, so he's going to be taking up into that relatively quick hive. Again, could potentially be Swarm Host, but I doubt it considering just how many roaches are coming through. And oh no, another DT heading into the main.
Yeah, it walked into the Overseer's vision range but wasn't noticed. Going to work on the drones in the main base. The Lings at the third here not going to be able to do anything as there is a Colossus out. We have TeFel pulling his entire army back once again. This DT only at 1 kill. Went after the lair for a little while, but it is going after the drones now, trying to get as many killed off
There's
as
another one going into the third as well, Penguin. These DTs are just everywhere.
This is just relentless aggression here out of Harstem. And these DTs are paying for themselves. They're expensive gas-wise, but they're paying for themselves in time. They're buying time, and they're killing off a whole bunch of workers in the process. 26 killed off so far, which means a 17-worker lead at this point for Harstem.
And what it's allowing to do with that time is Harstem is achieving that critical mass of Colossi again. Until this point, he's only been on 1-2 Colossus, the third one about to pop out now. If this push from TeFel had come in before there was that many Colossi, it's dangerous. It is scary. You can't splash damage it down. But once there's 3, 4 plus Colossus, suddenly Harstem doesn't actually care about Roach Hydra. He's just like, force fields? Oh no,
yeah,
DT again?
We have another DT, guys. This is at this point, we're just following the DTs. 7 kills on this guy as well. He is going to get caught by the army, but 8 kills, 9 kills. The Overseers are so slow. I would like to see Overseer speed research. 35 workers killed so far. This is just getting a little bit ridiculous. 43 drones on the map for dTefel, and he's not remaking them. He's just wanting to go for a big, overwhelming push here. But this army has so many roaches in it. I don't know how well this is going to deal with a Blink Stalker Colossus force.
There's just so much for Harstem. dTefel is maxed out, and because his drone count is really low at 43, he's got a massive army supply, 150 odd.
Yeah, but he's going to lose about 20 lings at the beginning for free just to start things off here. Not the greatest engagement for dTefel as he gets caught in a time warp behind force fields, but coming in from the side is a really nice move, picking up one Colossus, picking up another Colossus, maybe a lot of health on that thing, but down it finally goes. The Colossi are falling from this southern flank, and only one Colossus stands at the end of this. dTefel, what looked like a pretty iffy engagement
it's because
at the
of all
beginning,
these zealots.
really went his way.
All
And
the
as you
zealots
said,
have
there's a
gone
lot
up
of
to the
zealots.
third. So none of the zealots were actually in that engagement. The time warp meant there wasn't enough energy in order to do a mass recall, forcing Harstem to take that incredibly bad position of an engagement. It's now going to be a very interesting spot to see if dTefel can break this through, if the Blink Stalker can get some damage down with this Colossus, and how much the zealots can do.
Well, the Zealots are pretty much dead at this point, but they've killed the third, which means that Harstem has put himself in an economic
Oh no, the main base DT's the lair!
Oh, this is just
DTs.
getting ridiculous. Actually, this is really bad because at this point, if he focuses down the Overseers, he can just warp in DTs.
There are 2 Overseers here with the army. No DT's getting warped in, but the third base is still up for Harstem.
Yeah, this is a point now where Harstem is in a situation where if he holds this, he has such an economical advantage from just kind of killing everything of dTefel's that he wins. But dTefel has such a big army, it's going to be really hard to actually execute that hold. We have some really nice force fields at the top of the ramp here, not allowing him to actually come into the main. And Harstem is controlling this very well, but while the supplies are even, as you pointed out, there's a lot more probes on the map than drones, which means that there's still a pretty overwhelming supply advantage in the army supply for our Zerg player. But this has just been a really nice defense at the top of the ramp.
The third, though, is going to be the next target. Down goes that Colossus. The Stalkers are very limited in number.
But
no
there's a
Mothership
DT.
Corps. That's DT. DT be a hero.
There's no more Overseers on the map. The Overseers have been picked off. There's no more detection at all. The DT shredding this army. Another one of its brothers does come on in as well. dTefel looks like he may be out of options here with no detection and no lair. He has to pull back home, but at the same time, he doesn't really have much of a home to pull back to. 2 more DTs coming on in from the high ground, or from the north rather, and more of these units for dTefel are falling. A lot of these that are still alive are in the red as well. He doesn't have much left going for him, and the lair is still a good 20 seconds away from finishing.
The army supply now in Harstem's favor. GG.